All right, guys. Well, SummerSlam Night 2 is in the books, and Night 2 was a show. Night 2 had some big surprises, some big returns, and just a really good card all around. So we are here to talk about it. With that, welcome to the 716 Sports Entertainment Podcast. I'm your host, Mike, joined by Mr. Real Deal. And Mr. Real Deal, how did we enjoy Night 2 of SummerSlam?
So, hell of a show. Absolutely top to bottom. I don't give a shit what we said about storylines not making sense or not being great going into this. Everything that happened on night two was top tier. And when I give my rating at the end, I think it's going to be my first ever of the rating that I give. So I loved it. I think it was the best PLE of the year so far. And I think that it's probably one of the best PLEs that we've had as far as parts of a night. And then I think even combined, when you combine night 1 and 2, overall.
Yeah, high marks all around. I mean, the wrestling was top tier. I only have a couple of minor complaints, which I think, I kind of want to, I don't want to spoil the whole episode, so I actually think I'll get into those now. I think the one big thing before we start breaking down the individual matches and the card overall was the timing. And what I mean by that is, other than the main event, and I shouldn't even say the main event, both title matches specifically for the men, none of the other matches I think got enough time. I think that's of all of the things that I don't like about this show, or I guess my one gripe and or criticism of this show would be the time. Like, and I take the Kevin, spoiler alert, Kevin Owens returned. If you
Wait,
haven't
what?
seen, yeah, right. If you haven't, seen any of the spoilers yet, but that match got 8 minutes, and the Intercontinental title match, which was the culmination of basically a 2-year story with Chad Gable, got 11 minutes. And, Baron Corbin and Trick Williams got 12 minutes. And the only one I think actually that got a decent amount of time at 13 minutes was the women's ladder match.
Which had to.
13 minutes. And the Danhausen match seemed to go on way too long. But I mean, I digress. But Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins got 31 minutes, which is what they should have gotten. But I just wish that we got a little bit more wrestling on this 3-hour show.
So
That's kind of my only big problem with this is obviously we complain about the commercials quite a bit, but every single one of these matches could have benefited from 2 to 5 more minutes.
do you think that TKO puts a time limit on how long they allow these things to go? Because I've noticed, I was just thinking about it, and especially now that we're talking about the length of things, I remember when WrestleMania and SummerSlam used to go till 1 in the morning. And even once they split them into 2 nights, they still used to go till 10, 11 o'clock at night. This was over by 9:15. And I've noticed since, what was that?
Early start time though.
Right, but most WrestleMania and SummerSlam always started early. My point though is ever since TKO took over, it seems like all of their events either start real early or just in general end early. And it seems kind of weird to me, you know what I mean?
I mean, I suppose, but I'm of the mind I'm not asking for an extra 10 minutes on every single one of these matches. I'm asking for five, extra. We're talking 20-ish extra minutes of wrestling is all I think would have been enough. The first match, in my opinion, should have went 20 minutes. The US Championship match, I could have added maybe 2 or 3 more minutes to that, tops. The Danhausen match, I would have cut completely. Like I mentioned, the women's championship match, I think, was the perfect amount of time. And I think that the Chad Gable match should have gone, in my opinion, that match should have gone half an hour. But I mean, we had there were no near falls in that match, as an example. It was just, we got to the finisher and it just ended,
Yep.
and I kind of felt that way with the matches yesterday too. I wish that they'd given, except for the two men's title matches, I'd wish that they'd given all the matches just a bit more time to give these guys an opportunity to tell. Because that was the biggest problem, right? The biggest gripe going into the SummerSlam. And I don't, this whole review is not going to be us being negative, because it's not. The show, as we mentioned at the offset, the show was excellent.
Yep.
The wrestling that we got was excellent. But all of these matches could have benefited from more in-ring storytelling. And that was the biggest complaint of, just kind of the general fan base going into this show, was the stories. We didn't get enough time for the stories. And I had said this on one of our weekly shows a few weeks ago, that the Danhausen Money on a Pole match was the match that had gotten the most TV time of all of the matches this weekend, more so than the two main events.
Yep.
And then no universe is that acceptable. So, but that's all. I don't want to dwell on it. I just, it's an observation and something I think WWE can do to improve. And to your point, I don't know if they will, but it's probably my only criticism of the weekend.
I agree. I don't think there's really anything bad that we can say about it other than basically that. I mean, it seems, some of the stuff, obviously, like you said, the Danhausen match didn't need anything added. It felt like in a typical fashion, a match like that always feels like it goes too long. And then that, obviously, the Hell in a Cell match didn't need any more time added to it, because I don't know that Brock could have gone any longer.
No, but the Hell in a Cell match suffered from a problem. Another problem in and of itself is that it didn't even need to be inside of a cell.
No matter what some of our acquaintances think about Brock Lesnar and how he's the super athlete, I think that match was perfectly fine the way it was.
No, the match was fine, but it didn't need to be in a cell. It should have just been a no DQ match.
Yeah, street fight.
Yeah, but anyway. So night 2 began with a major surprise. The scheduled number 1 contenders match between Sami Zayn and Finn Balor became a fatal 4-way when SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis, fresh off his re-signment, added Gunther and then a returning Kevin Owens to the match. Owens received a fantastic welcome after spending nearly 17 months away from competition with his neck injury. And dude showed little ring rust. No ring rust, hardly at all. He attacked everybody right off the bat, embraced Sami Zayn, and then they just, got into a hockey fight, which was awesome. And the finish saw Owens deliver consecutive stunners to Balor, Gunther, and finally Zayn, when Owens pinned Zayn to become the next challenger for CM Punk's undisputed WWE Championship. And like I mentioned at the offset, right, this match could have definitely benefited from more time. But I thought it was good on Aldis to deliver on his promise to, to rectify the situation with Gunther, to allow him to compete for the title. And, Sammy obviously was the one that was the most kind of like distraught by this whole situation. Like, you saw it right in his face when Owens was making his entrance. And this was the biggest pop of the night. Owens' return was a huge surprise. We thought it was going to be Drew McIntyre. But I thought this was spectacular. I'm so glad Kevin Owens is back, and this is the shot in the arm that the SmackDown main event scene desperately needs.
First of all, I'm just happy to see Owens back, considering there was talk that he may never wrestle again, let alone potentially turn his head. So congrats on him, not only on becoming the new number 1 contender, but in even being able to return to wrestling. I know I have a friend who is an indie wrestler who has broken his neck twice, and the amount of work and surgery and everything you have to put in to come back from that it blows my mind that people can even do that.
Yep.
But you love your job, and we all know that Owens isn't just a wrestler, but he's a student of everything wrestling, and glad to see him back. And the second that his music hit, I believe I had mentioned on here that there was talk about him coming back sooner rather than later, and I definitely did not expect it on SummerSlam. And to become the number 1 contender, hell, it was the right call, and having him pin Sammy was 100% the right call. And you were completely right. He did not look like he missed a step. Nope. Hitting those cannonball sentons right off the bat, it looked like he just stepped right back into that same spot he was when him and Cody had that unsanctioned match.
Yeah, absolutely. And can I just say, man, oh man, am I looking forward to Kevin Owens and CM Punk in the ring together.
The promos,
The
oh my
pro, like
God.
I want like 6 weeks of this. I don't want this match to happen until Money in the Bank.
Yeah, give
Like
it to me in October.
I want like 6 to 8 weeks of them just obliterating each other on the microphone. That is like give that to me. And I got to be honest with you, I don't think it's going to happen because maybe Sammy will probably get involved, like early fantasy booking here. But I want Owens to win. I want Owens to win the title.
So allow me to live in the real deal's fantasy world here for a minute, but I would love for there to be a world where KO won the belt and we got Sammy versus KO in Riyadh season 17 for the title at WrestleMania.
That would be a lot of fun.
I think
That
that
could be really really cool.
you want to talk long-term storytelling, that's 30 years in the making, or however long the two of them have been competing with each other.
Yep.
Like, I think that would be one of, if not the greatest stories that WWE could tell.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. And it was a lot of fun. And you know, it was, everybody get to deliver a few moves here. I mean, Balor got to hit the coup de grace on everybody after, everybody kind of went down. Gunther got several of them in the sleeper hold. Sammy didn't really do that much. There was a point in time where he almost had the match won, but then, Gunther, locked him up in the sleeper hold after Owens, kind of kicked free there. But, yeah, to your point, I mean, this was, just an emotional match. And yeah, it was great to see Kevin Owens pick up the win. Right call here, 100%.
I mean, I'm happy. I don't think I've ever been happier to have predicted something incorrectly.
Right?
Like,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
perfectly okay with that.
same, same. So next we saw Baron Corbin capture the United States Championship. So Trick Williams made his SummerSlam debut by defending the U.S. title against Baron Corbin. Sean's boy, Little Yachty, attempted to help Williams by striking Corbin with the trick shot while the referee was distracted. However, the interference backfired when Williams accidentally knocked Yachty through the table at ringside. Corbin took advantage by striking Williams with the championship and connecting with the End of Days to win the United States title. Controversial finish gives, I think, how crowded. I had some time to think about this, and I think given how crowded the main event scene is right now, and everything's still going on with Mello, I think this gives Williams, an opportunity just to demand a rematch. Maybe he kind of breaks away from Yakti, and they kind of just do their own thing. And these three guys are probably going to hover around the U.S. title for a little bit longer, I think.
So the wolf isn't so lonely anymore now that he's got some gold added to his collection.
Mhm.
Thank, thank God we can get that god awful looking belt change back to here because he already announced that abomination against nature is going away. I mean, I don't know how many wolves Trick Williams had to skin to make that thing, but it's no wonder Baron Corbin was pissed at him. But once again, the End of Days puts away someone, and absolutely love it. I love how it was one of the most protected things. Dude never should have been released in the first place.
Nope.
Guy is the definition of company man, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody outside of Cody Rhodes get goofy gimmicks over the way Corbin did. I
Mhm.
mean, happy and sad Corbin, Constable Corbin. I mean, it was just left and right. The dude made lemons out of lemonade. There was a different analogy I was going to go with there, but we'll be a little more
We'll be
polite.
politically correct today.
And I think it was the right call to have him go over. I think Trick was kind of in a weird spot where he was getting face reactions when he was still technically a heel. And I think this allows them to sort of finagle him into a little bit more of a face chasing role with a definitive heel there in Baron Corbin.
Yeah, yeah, completely with you. And again, you protected Trick here because Trick is the future, but this was the right booking decision here as well. And that seemed to kind of be the theme of
Yes.
not of just tonight, but kind of the weekend. For the most part, that's why our predictions we did so well because it was kind of the theme of the weekend. Like the correct booking decisions just seemed to kind of happen a lot.
Yep.
So next we saw Chelsea Green win the interim WWE Women's Championship, and this was the second biggest pop of the night, right behind Owens. This match, as I mentioned at the offset, this match got the perfect amount of time, that 13 minutes, and they were a little botchy at times. There were a couple of spots where I thought Lash may have injured some people. But all in all, the match was fine. This match saw all five of the women, Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill, Lash Legend, and of course Chelsea Green, compete in a relatively, kind of dangerous ladder match where we definitely saw some major collisions. Lash Legend at one point in time power bombed Tiffany Stratton onto the ladder that was between the two ropes. Jade Cargill hit Jaded on Chelsea Green onto another ladder. BFAB and Meechin eventually showed up, attacking Chelsea Green on her first iteration, trying to go up the ladder. And that's how she kind of got her legs caught in the ladder. This allowed all four of the other women to come in and put the other ladders up on the two sides of the middle ladder where Chelsea was hanging for like 3 minutes. And they all kind of just fought each other off, and the two ladders kind of got pushed to the left and pushed to the right. And this allowed Chelsea Green to recover, climb the remaining ladder, and pick up the title to become the interim WWE Women's Champion. And I mean, this is the biggest accomplishment of her career. And I am thrilled for Chelsea Green. She deserves it. And I thought, again, this was 100% the right way to book this. We were watching the show with a couple of people last night, and somebody made the point about how if you put the belt on Charlotte, that it may cause people to start kind of resenting her again a little bit. And I gave some time to think about that today. And I think that actually would have been true. I think Charlotte's in a very good place right now. And I don't want to get people back onto the Charlotte wins LOL thing too quickly. So this was the right decision here. I think Chelsea's going to be a lot of fun as the champion. And yeah, she'll probably lose to Rhea when Rhea comes back, but that's okay. Right. And, I think that this is fine. This is fun. And this is, again, a shot in the butt that SmackDown's women's division desperately needed.
So, first of all, to your Charlotte point, I think the other thing too is the fact that you already have the Charlotte and Jade story going. You don't have to have the title, have one of them holding the title as part of that, because it overcomplicates things with when they have to face Rhea too. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that would force them to pivot, change all kinds of stories. So that just didn't make sense.
Well, and Rhea's already beaten both of them too.
Exactly. And as far as Chelsea goes, first of all, congrats Road Dogg on being right about Chelsea Green.
Yep.
Secondly, screw Michael Hayes.
Yes.
I love that Chelsea dedicated her title win to him, especially after the garbage he talked on Unreal. I know you like to shout out Unreal, but the fact that he even said something like that, I'm glad that he got the backlash that he did, and hopefully Chelsea doesn't get punished for dedicating it to him, because I loved that, and I love Chelsea Green. I've loved her for a long time. You guys, I remember when you guys gave me shit about having her on my my top 5 list.
To be fair, that was a year and a half ago.
Still, I think that I've seen it since she came back. I've been on the Chelsea Green train, and you guys may have laughed at me, but I stuck with it. And here she is, our interim champ.
Yeah,
and
I'm so happy for her.
I think it was my second biggest pop of the night after Owens' return, and I don't know that anybody as outside of Chelsea Green could have hung upside down for 3 to 4 minutes, considering that she's empty as headed as she is.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was a great moment. It was just another really good feel good moment, and there were a couple of those, tonight. And I think it really it was a great moment, and I'm really happy for her.
It was also real nice to see. I don't know if you saw the picture or the video from after the match. All 4 of the other women stayed out there and were clapping for her and giving her props. Like they didn't all rush to the back, and that was real nice to see.
Yeah, that's good. That's a great thing. It's a great moment.
Yeah.
Next we saw probably the most inconsequential and boring match of the evening, which saw Danhausen defeat Dominik Mysterio in a Human Monies on a pole match, which saw the winner be required to retrieve a sack of money suspended above the ring. This match was ridiculous. It was everything you thought it was going to be. JD McDonough interfered pretty much right away on Dominik's behalf. Then the Minihausen showed up to even the numbers. Then Joe Hendry showed up and struck McDonough with a guitar. Danhausen eventually used his curse to stop Mysterio from climbing the pole to recover the money, which kind of had a spark pyro thing go off, and ultimately allowed Danhausen to pick up the win. And can we cool it with Danhausen a little bit? Like, two PLEs, because yes, I'm counting Saturday night's main event. Two PLE matches in the span of like 3 weeks. Can we cool it with this guy a little bit? Like, this is a little much.
Yep.
This spot should have been given to somebody else, to anybody else. He just had a match. This guy should be reserved for Saturday night's main events.
Or they shouldn't have done it there.
I don't need to see him take up a spot at SummerSlam.
I don't know.
No, I don't need to see him take up a spot at SummerSlam. It makes me not take the card as serious as I should. I get it. I'm a bit of an old school fan, as you guys have probably been able to tell by now. I think the comedy gimmicks, they have a place, but at the same time, you could have just cut this match completely and just given every other match the additional 5 minutes that they all deserved.
Yeah, but most big PLEs always have some sort of goofy gimmick match on it. I think you hit the nail on the head, though, that they didn't need to have the Saturday night's main event match and this one as close together as they did. But that also ties back into my opinion that Saturday night main event never should have happened. It doesn't surprise me that we got this, though, because obviously once he went through McDonough, he was going to have to go through Dominik Mysterio. But I think that overall, hopefully now that he won his human monies back, and that we can just go back to have him having his backstage segments and take a break from him doing anything in ring for a little while.
Yeah, I don't really have much more to say about it. I said my piece about Danhausen, so
it was what I expected it to be. Like I didn't expect it to be a 6 stars in the Tokyo Dome style match, even though that's what probably would have gotten in Japan.
It's true. Next, we saw Chad Gable receive perhaps one of the most emotional victories of the weekend, which saw him defeat Penta to become the Intercontinental Championship in his hometown of Minneapolis. Penta, the story of this match was Penta repeatedly targeting Gable's injured shoulder. He connected with the Mexican Destroyer on the ring apron. Penta attempted another Destroyer, which towards the end of the match, which again, this match should have been given more time. Gable countered and applied the ankle lock. Then he eventually kind of fell backwards and really locked it up. Penta had no choice but to submit, giving Gable his first singles championship of his WWE career. And this Gable, was just very visibly emotional, celebrated in the ring with his family. And I loved everything about this. I mean, this dude went from American Alpha, Shorty G, Alpha Academy, American Made, then the El Grande Americano. And that whole thing started with Penta beating him. What was it, 2 years ago?
Yep.
Led him down the path of becoming El Grande Americano and doing all of that. Then having, spoiler alert when we do this in December, but having the best match of the year in that AAA mask versus mask match. I mean, there's not going to be a better match than that this year. There's not going to be. I mean, all of the big PLEs are pretty much over at this point, and I just do not think that was the best match I've seen in like 5 years. And I don't think that there will be a better match than it this year, even after we see Omega versus Ospreay in Wembley. I don't even think that will be better than the mask versus mask match. That match was incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy for Chad Gable. Dude deserves it 100%.
Yeah. What I said about Baron Corbin earlier 100% applies to Chad Gable as well. The dude has turned everything into gold that he has done. And to this day, several months later, I still can't believe that he was El Grande Americano. I never saw that reveal coming. Like that like blew my mind when he took the mask off and it was revealed to be Master Gable. Like, it just shows what an incredible wrestler he is, that not only can he go from his pro amateur style version all the way to being a world famous historic luchador like he was, to now finally reaching that brass ring and getting the title that he's chased for so long in his home state and with his family right there. I couldn't be happier for the guy. Showed that he is probably, if not the best straight up wrestler on WWE's roster, but he's up there in the top five. And Penta looked great putting him over. The fact that he tapped kind of surprised me, but I'll take it. I'm very curious to see where we take him, or if Penta's going to unmask and reveal that he's actually Otis. But I think it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, and not only that, but like the amount of people that Gable has made along the way too, right? Like, I mean, look at how the other El Grande Americano is doing now. He's probably the most famous wrestler in AAA right now. Like, I mean, completely turned everything around, right? Like, I mean, you know, spoiler alert, it's Ludwig Kaiser, but like,
Wait, what?
I mean, he was a backup henchman to Gunther. And now look at him. He's one of the best wrestlers in a promotion right now.
Yes.
And I mean, that's all because of Gable. So I mean, the guy deserved his flowers and he finally got them. And to your point, I mean, I'm so happy for him.
And it's kind of weird that he paid a little person to come out dressed like him from the crowd. But I'm not quite sure where he was going with that, but it was nice to see his wife out there with him.
Yeah. Yeah. So this led us to the main event, which saw Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins close out SummerSlam in a very personal World Heavyweight Championship match built around their shared history in the Shield. The match started off, initially with Roman's power and Seth's technical ability in the ring, and then kind of trying to feel each other out. The fight extended into the crowd, into the announce area. Reigns powerbombed Rollins through one of the tables, when then Rollins kind of returned the favor a little bit later, and it looked a little bit harder for him when he did that. Both men did kind of barely avoid being counted out. Rollins survived a spear when Reigns kicked out after absorbing a buckle bomb and a stomp. The two then kind of honored their former Shield mate, who they actually named,
Yep.
Cole, by incorporating a dirty deeds into the match, which I also liked. Reigns accidentally speared the referee, accidentally. Then both competitors, got the steel chair into the ring, and after kind of associating it with Rollins' sort of infamous betrayal of the Shield, Reigns got his hands on the chair after he ducked Rollins going to hit it and threw it away. And it kind of exorcised his demons there a little bit. Rollins connected with another stomp, but then missed a super stomp that he was going for off the top ropes, which allowed Roman Reigns to hit three consecutive spears to allow him to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. Afterwards, Reigns extended his fist to Rollins. Following a moment of hesitations, Rollins joined him in performing the Shield's signature fist bump, and the Minneapolis crowd went bonkers. And that is how we closed out the main event,
With the shield mask in between them. Very interesting, the illusions that they made there. And not only did they hit the dirty deeds, but Rollins went for it. He also hit the rebound lariat that Ambrose used to do. So, and the fact that they name dropped him is unusual, because normally they try to stay away from that kind of thing. So I'm very curious what that was all about. I think, though, that this match was a hell of a match. Just all the callbacks, the history between these two. And I think the biggest thing for me out of all this, though, is that they truly stuck to the no bloodline involved stipulation. That Roman was able to do this all on his own. And I think that was the big thing coming out of this for me. And I enjoyed it. As much as I would have liked Rollins to win, I think that they did a perfectly fine job of having Reigns win and go where he is. It'll be interesting to see if Rollins makes his way back to the title picture sooner rather than later. I have a feeling they're going to move on to other people first, but we'll see where it goes from there. I loved it all, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm completely with you. And I think for a little while, Roman's going to need to go on to some other people. And I would imagine the end game for Roman Reigns is probably going to be Obafemi.
It's got to be.
Like, I think it's got to. I don't know what we're going to do with Obafemi kind of like immediately. I guess we'll find out on Raw tonight. I'm sure he'll have something. Maybe he'll have a segment with Roman. I doubt it. I think it's going to be probably LA Knight. But we will certainly see how that goes. So that was SummerSlam Night 2. And so why don't you go ahead and give me your overall rating for Night 2 and then I guess for the show as a whole?
So night two, I give an A plus. It's my first ever time I think that I'm giving a PLE an A plus, or at least part of a PLE. I think that the psychology and the in-ring storytelling trumped the lack of outside of the ring storytelling, and I think every moment in this, even the Danhausen stuff wasn't enough to bring it down for me. I loved it all. I wish that WWE could put on shows of this caliber for every PLE. Obviously, that's asking a lot considering the writers' room that they have, but if they can do it once, you'd think that they could do it more than that. And then when you combine it with night one, I think that gives me an A for both nights. I think SummerSlam was, as a whole, one of their best PLEs in a long time. I think probably since the WrestleMania with Cody, where he finally won. And I think that they have a fresh start now going forward. I imagine, like you said, we're going to get LA Knight and Roman Reigns. I think that makes the most sense after that team beat the Bloodline. And I'm very curious to see where they go forward from this because they have the opportunity to start some brand new stories here.
Yeah, that's kind of my hope too. I think, and I think I agree with you. This was definitely, I think, from top to bottom. If you take away the weekly TV going into this PLE, this was the best PLE of the year.
Yep.
And I like this. I enjoyed this better than WrestleMania. I wish, and this, I want to go back to what I began this podcast with, and that is, I don't want it to come across that I am complaining that these matches were not good. I'm not saying that at all. These matches were excellent. These matches were so excellent. I wish they would have gotten more time. That's my complaint. I wanted these matches to get more time. I think these wrestlers deserve more time for the work that these guys put in to do the best that they can, given how much the writers' room is trying to spite them. These wrestlers deserve all of the credit and give them their flowers for doing what they were able to do for the amount of time that they were given with which to do it. So I think that with that, my final rating for the show is a acknowledge your tribal chief out of 5.
Not a salute your president out of 5?
All right. So yeah, so that is our show, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. What did you think of SummerSlam? Let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. And let's keep this going here as we make our way towards the fall and hopefully not the slow time of WWE. Hopefully we get to see some good stuff leading up to Money in the Bank and the eventual War Games in Houston, which got advertised several times throughout the show. And we'll make our way towards next spring again when we have WrestleMania in Riyadh season 17. So with that, I have been Mike, joined by Mr. Real Deal. Have yourselves a fantastic evening. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't already, and take care.